Royal and humble greetings to each and every one. On this video, we're going to be looking at the Embo Kingdom of Africa. Now this kingdom has now been separated into different clans and different tribes throughout the years. To understand who these people are, we have to take it back into history. The Embo Kingdom of Africa can be traced back before the Common Era, as according to our oral history. They are the custodians of an ancient kingdom that the Almighty Creator entrusted to rule what we call Embo, in English, which simply means origin or the roots. The Embo or the Abambo people descended from Lomo Waqangi, Lomo the first, who the Almighty Creator entrusted Lomo Waqangi to rule over the newly creation of man who occupied the continent of origin. It was Mvelinqangi, the first to appear, who gave his breath of life to Lomo, who had two roles on the living planet. Firstly, to remind the nation of the heritage and culture, tradition and the laws of the Almighty Creator. Secondly, he was to be the bridge between the nation and the Almighty Creator. Lomo Waqangi emerged from the great river that had a huge waterfall along its reeds, covered by mud, wearing a leopard skin with a kingship stick that will be passed down from generation to generation. Lomo Waqangi then had Bucwa, whose name even today became a significant name for a ritual that will be held by these people. Abantu bakwaBucwa, the people of Bucwa, is what they are referred to even today. As the kingship passed down from generation to generation, they were divided into many nations, tribes, clans, and families. However, during the time of Ubusobengwe, Ubabhungane the first had many sons and daughters. However, the main sons were Dlamini, Mhlanga, Msimango, Xaba, and Mtimkhulu the first. All these named sons formed great nations which stand even on this day. Dlamini formed Eswatini Kingship, the House of Dlamini. Mhlanga formed the Ndebele nation. Mhlanga had a son called Msi or Musi, whose descendants formed Amantungwa, Kakhumalo noMabaso. Msimango and Xaba formed their own nation called Amashwabata, as they thought one of them will be named King of the Kings after their father. On the eve of the announcing of who will be named the King of Kings, Xaba and Msango held their own gatherings and celebrated. However, their father, Busobengwe, named Mtimkhulu the first as the king. Then their praises became Othabizolo, that means ones who were happy the day before, in the Tekela language. The name Shwabate is taken from the praises Mashwabata, Oshwabatele izindlubu namakhasi, Oshwabatele inkomo nezimpondo, Nyambose bakwaMthethwa, a descendant of Xaba, Kabusobengwe. Nyambose went on to form a great nation and was named after his father, the prominent figure Mthethwa. Now looking at Sibeside, a descendant of Sidwebesiluthuli, born from the house of Nkosi. Nkosi, who was the son of Dlamini. Dlamini, who was the son of Ubusobengwe. Sibeside was also a chief himself and had 4 sons, Mavovo, Nomafu, Njanya. Mavovo went on to form AbakwaMkhize, the people of Mkhize, as their name suggests. Njanya had twins named Mpondo and Mpondomise, who formed their respective nations, which still stands to this day. Njanya also got Xesibe, who formed Amaxesibe. Nomafu went on to form the Amambovu of the Ngubane as we know them today. And as centuries passed, a king by the name of Radebe ruled, who is the brother of Ngcobo. His marriage to Nomahlubi of the Bele nation, who gave birth to Lomo II. As during Ngcobo's reign as king, he wanted no one to succeed him, so he killed every son that he had. The council and the nation decided to intoxicate him and sent him on a hunting mission, where he was left alone and eaten by wild animals. Then Radebe took over and helped conceive the rightful king for his brother, as it is their tradition. When Lomo took over, Radebe had formed the strongest nation through marriage, having strategic bilateral relationships and people, clans seeking protection. In so doing, half of the nation wanted him to stay king. The nation split into two large parts. The first one was Amaradebe, who are now residing in Eastern Cape. Second was the nation that followed Lomo, who was supported by his mother, who on the other half of the nation was named after her, Amahlubi. During the late 1700s, King Pungane II, known as Mlotshwa, ruled the strongest nation within the Southern Africa, also known as Amakhulukhulu. In English, the Great, or meaning lots and lots. He is known as one of the greatest kings in Hlubi history, as he was a rainmaker, knowledgeable with medicine, and had over 400 wives through strategically marrying daughters of chiefs who served under him. As a spiritual guide of the nation, and every king should be, his praises tell us of his great relationship with the Supreme Being. After Pungane II, kingship passed down from him to Mthimkhulu II, who is Ngwadlozimbovu, also known as Jobe, who had other brothers which challenged him, who were Mpangazitha, Duba, and Mahwanga. During Pungane's reign, the nation was at its peakest with wealth, regiments, and spiritual powers, and population of the nation. However, that came to depletion after Mthimkhulu was handed over the kingship due to the system of governance that differed from his predecessors, as he was killed by trusted advisors and under the instruction of Matiwane Kamasumpa of the Ngwane tribe, that descended and named from Ngwane II of the Eswatini kingdom, who was their ancestor. Ngwane kaMthimkhulu, as by the tradition, the nation chooses and marries a wife for the king, who will bear a son that will rule after the king. Ngwane, born from a Swati princess who was a humble man, and as heir to the throne refused to rule as king. He then, instead of ruling, chose to help run the kingdom and be a spiritual seer and heal people through medicines. Mahwanga was regent at the time. Lomo III, who was young at the time, wanted to assume the kingship. It was Mahwanga who refused for Lomo III to be king, as he knew the rightful king. After Mahwanga was killed, then after Lomo III went to seek aid of regiment and advice from King Dingane of the Zulus, only to find out Dingane kaSenzangakhona had other plans to kill Lomo III. Langalibalele, who was a chief, became regent as Ngwane died from a sickness, and Langalibalele became king. However, by true right, the next king needed to be Ngwane's heir, but that was never done. Now this is the Embo kingdom of Africa. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Until the next one, thank you for watching.